All right, good evening. It's 7 o'clock. I'd like to call the first selecting meeting to order. Everyone please rise. The pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Right, I'd like someone to make a motion to accept the agenda.
So moved.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, passes. Everyone has the minutes from the last meeting. Want to make sure everyone reviewed that. Any changes, any updates or edits in that? Or can we have a motion to approve the
I
minutes?
move we approve the minutes from February 19th.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Passes. I have no communications and correspondence for right now. It's gonna get busy when we start doing the budget, starting another week or so. We'll probably get more of those, but right now, none. Public comments. Is there anyone here or online that has public comment that'd like to say something? Nothing online? No one in the audience? Very, very nice. So tonight, I've spoken to Tom. We've been working on preparing the budget for you. Everyone should have that. John, I got your copy there as well.
Thank you.
Tom will not be coming down tonight. He's working on some additional budget needs. I know some of you, I think, had some specific questions about capital outlays. I believe, but Bobby, I think you had one. I think Mike had as well. He's working on that right now. He will send that out tomorrow morning. But he's, he was out for a couple of days with an injury that put him back, so he's catching up today. So I hope everyone is okay with that. He sends his best. I wishes you were here, but you'll get the information hopefully by tomorrow at noontime. So, all right, let's go to appointments of boards and commissions. Do we have any appointments?
Yeah, I have a couple of appointments here. We were for the Brownfield Area Steering Committee. We'd like to nominate Mike Dadowski. Mike's the EDC chair now and has expressed an interest in being on the Brownfield Steering Committee.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? I'll make a comment. I've known Mike for a while. He's done very good work on the EDC. He's passionate about the town. He supports the businesses. I think he's got a good vision. And he's open-minded about what he thinks would make the most sense for the town. I think he's expressed an interest in being part of it. I think he can be a contributing member of that. So I feel good about that. That's been my experience with it.
Yeah, I concur 100%.
All right. So we ready to vote? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those against? Those abstaining? Motion passes.
And then a second nomination is also for the Brownfield Area Steering Committee. It's Bob Ellsworth.
I'll second that.
Any discussion?
Good choice. Jim.
I think it's the same thing too. I think you're right. Good man. I got a chance to meet with him and have a nice long talk about Portland and his experience. So
Bobby's a longtime Portland person that a lot understands things well.
Well, in his role in planning and zoning, he certainly has a good grasp for, what
well, and what I liked most about it was he sat there and thought long and hard because he knew the commitment that he had to make. He didn't just say yes willy-nilly. He thought about it, make sure he could do the time and do it the right way. So I thought that said a lot about his character. So, all right. No further discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Abstains? Motion passes.
And then if I may be so bold, one more. For the inland wetlands for an alternate opening for a term that ends in 2027, I believe. We're nominating Bob Wildermuth to serve.
Second.
Second by Bobby. Discussion?
Wasn't Bob on it before?
Was Bob on it?
Was he on wetlands before?
I don't believe he
For
was. I think he was
conservation?
on Conservation Committee.
Yeah, that's what, because I went to
Yeah,
both
he was
meetings.
on-
No,
Yeah, he
good.
was on Conservation.
He was also a member a long time ago of Brownstone Forum. He used to
Yeah.
work with them.
Oh, did he? Yeah.
Yeah.
Bob's a good guy.
Yeah, no, he's great. He's he's a real valuable community
So
member.
I don't know Bob, but he's been involved in town for a while and he knows things. Great. All right. Any more discussion? All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion passes. There is a notice and a request to amend the makeup of the committee in solidarity to allow up to 2 high school students to serve as non-voting members on the committee. Solidarity, said students to be selected by the Portland High School facility. So the committee approached me about a week or so ago and wanted to bring this to the committee. And their idea is to include the high school, at least 2 high school kids onto the committee so they can see what they're doing, assist. They would be non-voting members. But the committee felt strongly that getting the high school age kids, especially younger ones, aware of what's going on, those that want to contribute or participate should be able to, and they felt that that might be something that would add to their committee and add to their insight from the town point of view, from the younger people's point of view. So I thought it was interesting. I like the idea, but I wanted to bring it to the committee for discussion.
I think one of the questions, how would they be selected? Do we know? Would they be appointed by, would it be something that's chosen within the schools or
It says here the faculty would
the faculty?
pick
do that?
them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know what the exact procedure would be based on volunteers and then weeding them out. I don't know, but I know they had a vetting process or a selection process they felt good about, and they would put that in writing for us too.
No, I think it's, again, I think getting our young folks engaged in a lot of things is a good idea.
Well, that has a kind of a flow over feeling too, because the Voices of Portland a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
They were talking about ways to get that into the high school and let the kids hear from that too. And this would not only get them involved in a presentation like this might help them have a say in planning it, which would be great.
By the way, nice job at the Voice of Portland.
Well, just took over for the big guy.
You did a better job. That's the way it should be. Any discussion, suggestions on the other
But they're
side?
gonna bring a proposal to us to.
They haven't. They wanted to vet it first because it would be a change of what they did, but they wanted to see what our feeling was on it before we can move forward with that.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be interested in seeing what they, what they propose.
Okay.
In writing.
Yeah, to see what they would like to propose, but I don't see how it's any different if they were just interested in going to the meeting. Like,
Well, I agree.
I mean, if you're really truly interested, just show up to the meeting.
Well, and I
There's nothing
think-
to say you can't.
And I think the proposal is that it's 2 non-voting members, but they get to be there, and maybe participate in the conversation. So I think that they're trying to include them in the discussion as well as feedback. So
Well, watch, for example, last night, I was at the Board of Education meeting, they have their student representative. And he actually participates in some of the conversations and, they consider his opinion, which is good. This might just be another like that.
yeah, I would suggest that we approve this in my feeling, because we can have them come back with the details, but it sounds like the details are pretty simple. They're gonna set up a process to find 2 students that are willing and able to participate, but it's up to the board to decide if you want to wait till the next meeting or them to get some
I mean,
information. I'm
I
fine with that.
love the
That makes
idea.
sense.
But yeah, I would rather something to read,
Okay.
that we've
I'm
got
fine
a
with that.
proposal in front
The
of
only,
us.
the only other question I have is, does the Board of Education also need to sign off on this? Because it's the high school faculty that's selecting kids, so.
That's kind of where I was going.
Yeah,
Good question. I'll find out. That's a good question. So
I think that would
really
be
can-
addressed in their proposal.
Yeah.
Right, you can see it in writing.
But I think it's a great idea, but I think maybe we just have to tie up all the knots on it, and do it.
And I agree, just to say about the student reps on the Board of Ed, if that's the model, it's a great model.
Yeah.
Because we've had a variety of students, and I think the students that have been serving now have been, stellar in what their participation and input on the board.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the comments yesterday with some folks at the town hall was, it's hard to get people to get involved in things right now. So getting people in town to join the committees we have and step up and serve is great. If we can do that with the kids as well, they're busy with everything. So if we can get them to stop and focus on something that's meaningful, that's a good thing. So I think that's great. So I will reach out to them, let them know we've discussed it. We'd like something in writing. I'll confirm what the Board of Ed would need to do, if anything specific. And then at the next meeting, we'll put this on schedule for that. Everyone good with that?
Yeah.
Fantastic. I'll let them know. Before I go on from the appointments though, with those 2 appointments of Brownfield's Area Steering Committee, that committee is now filled. We have 5 people in there. So I believe the next step is, I made some help from you, is we need to set up a meeting with them, pick a chair, and then they go off and do their work.
Yeah,
So-
there's a model, set up an organization committee.
Yeah. So that will happen. So I will, now that committee's filled, I will go back to the office tomorrow, make sure the process starts right away and we can get them to work. All right. Let's go through expired. We have, see Donald Roy, he's out. Joseph Spada is expired. Resignations we have. All right, let's go. All right, we have no excess payments. That's even better. All right, let's go right to status and reports.
And I'll starting off on really on water. It was an odd sight. I went to the park and there was no longer a drilling rig there, so.
That's a good sign, I hope.
No, it was a very good sign. So they've got the well in, they've got the 12-inch pipe in. You know, I'm not sure if they've got any of the grouting left to complete. I know that they were working on that, but, you know, when I was there, basically to fill in the gaps and make sure they fill in the gaps completely between the 12-inch pipe and the 20-inch pipe in the hole, you know, as it's coming up. But I think for the most part, that's going to be either complete or pretty close to complete, or they might need to have somebody come back to do the cap on the well. There's basically a requirement for, I believe it's a concrete layer that's in the upper part to seal it in place. So that may be what's left. But bottom line is that it was not an easy process. They ran into a few bumps along the way. But they've got their cameras, you know, they've done the camera, they've inspected it, the integrity of the well looks good. And when they were doing their pumping, and they did a pump test to sort of like a preliminary to kind of flush things out. They were getting a very high quantity of water. So I believe the next steps are going to be effectively to moved towards the pump testing. At least do something on a preliminary basis, get some results. We got to get the permit moving. And then obviously we'll be getting into the permitting phase. So, you know, they still got to put the final configuration in terms of the pump and all that. That's going to go in place. But bottom line is it's moving along. We're in good shape at this point. It's moving along nicely.
Absolutely. So everyone has a pack that should have something from Rich DeRosa. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah.
I asked him to summarize that for at least the next,
Yep.
you know, 4 to 6 weeks. So that covers a lot of it as well. I've asked him, once we get more details, once we get closer to the pump test and all, I've asked that maybe come here if anyone has questions, or if the board feels that that's something important to ask him, then he's happy to come in.
Yeah, and then I think the other thing, we have to make sure that we are staying like on top of keeping that process moving.
Mhm.
Because we're gonna have a window, you know, when we go to do the longer pump down test, which we'll need.
Mhm.
You know, that's gonna be done when the conditions aren't too dry or when they're not too wet. You know, we're probably gonna want to try to, I'm hoping that maybe we can get some of that moving, before we get so much rain in spring where it pushes us off more towards the summer, we would lose some time. Right, so we got to try to manage that and make sure we're on top, so we have that availability as soon as we can get it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, John, anything Board of Ed?
I'm gonna cheat and look at my minutes, because I forgot my notes on the desk at home.
Yep, we have the minutes here. It's in.
Oh, no, I got it right here.
Okay,
but,
good.
um,
We should have the minutes from the meeting.
There were a couple statistics that were provided last night, which I thought were interesting, and I don't have those, but there was a presentation by Julia McGovern, who handles the multilingual student program. And it was very interesting, and a bunch of young multilingual students, mostly English and Spanish students, came forward and spoke. It was very interesting. I believe the number they gave like in 10-year intervals, and I believe 20 years ago, the number of, and don't quote me because I'll check my notes, but I believe it was like under 10 that we had were bilingual students. And in 2023, the number is 48. And most of them are English, Spanish, but they said there were some Portuguese and a few others. And some of the kids last night gave the little PowerPoint presentation and, you know, had their pictures of the statues in their country that they were proud of and their flags. I mean, they were Mexico, Puerto Rico, Venezuela, and the kids did a great job. I was very proud of them. They stood up there and did their presentation. Part of the student representative report, Liam gave, as he always does, gave a lengthy report, but the most important thing I wanted to get to everybody is the play, Anything Goes, is March 21st and 22nd, and tickets are on sale. And then there was some discussion about 3 new classes that will be available at the high school, and these were quite interesting. One of them was Introduction to Data Science, which I believe there is a small fee to that, but they're also going to be submitting a request to the Gildersleeve fund to see if they can get some money for that. That sounded great. They're doing a advanced fitness class, which I guess it's a non-credit, but there are kids that want to do a little more than gym. And this is an opportunity for, they said probably the students and seniors that have a little gap in their schedule, give them something to do involving fitness and probably have steps in, changing their life and how they go forward. And then the third one is an AP, a college course in graphic arts and design, which sounded really great. Then there was some discussion, obviously, about the budget, the upcoming budget meetings, and that was pretty much it.
All right. Anything at this end?
Capital improvements is wrapped up. And planning and zoning, they just have a couple small things on the agenda for their meetings.
Okay.
That's been going smooth.
Okay, good. Smooth is good. Smooth is good. I have a couple, you're all set too? Any updates? Going?
If you want to hear me talk about strategic capital, that I watched on YouTube, but I don't think so.
All right. I have a couple things, a couple updates. I guess I'll start with the first one that was kind of timely today. I don't know if you guys have been following the legislature, but today they passed, I think it's Bill 7067, that allowed towns to make a change locally with their car tax and how that's done. So two parts of the bill were vetoed, but the other parts were not. So if we do changes, if they allow the town to make the changes on the car tax, it spreads out the tax base. There's some compelling reasons for a town to do this, but it involves a lot more discussion. So it just happened today. I will send information out to everyone with the details on this. But for those that knew, when they capped the car tax several years ago, we probably lost $500,000, at least $500,000 or $600,000 a year in taxes. It had a huge impact on the way towns and municipalities raise money, put the burden on homeowners. So this was after all the pushback from the towns. This is the state legislature's kind of answer to that, giving towns a chance to spread out the burden and bump the car tax up a little higher in each town. So it just came in today. I've reached out to Carrie. I've reached out to folks at Cost to get more details on what's involved. I will let you guys know more as I get it. I'll let the town know more as we get more details on that. We are talking about, the budget right now, so that's a big impact on the budget. For example, following the plan, as I understand it from today, and don't hold me to the specific numbers, but with this in place, it may reduce the mill rate increase by almost 40%, 50% as a percentage of what it may need to be versus what it could be. So it could have a significant impact on the budget of our town. So I will let people know about it. I have more information here, but I'll email out the details. And as I get more relevant information from those that know better than I do, the legislatures, Christie, others, I'll make sure that you get that. But that'll probably be something we'll need to talk about at the next meeting, and especially as our budget discussions go forward. So that's something I want everyone to be aware of. Speaking of budget, everyone should have their budget now. Rick hasn't seen it yet. John, you're just getting it now, but I know you looked a little bit at it. We're going to start those meetings soon. So the first public hearing on this will be the 11th. It's coming Tuesday. I will present the budget that I put together in there. And then we start our workshops the next day. So everyone take a look at this, make sure your schedule accommodates it. We'll need you here. Especially the department workshops. We'll have the department heads here spending their time answering questions. So as we've done, at least as I've done 10 times over the last 10 years, I know we look at every line. I know we examine every dollar that's either in there or that could be in there on both sides of the equation, both taxes as well as what we're spending. So I think we're in good hands in terms of everyone looking at. So I look forward to that next couple of weeks with everybody here. So you'll see that coming. Next, everyone should have something I put in for Carl. Does everyone see that? So I'm going to give two shout outs for employees. One is Carl. Carl will have something more from Carl Richards. I think all of us know has been working for the town for 30+ years in a number of areas. He retired last Friday after 30+ years of service.
35 years.
35 years, lots of years, a lot of dedication. If you've been in town for any amount of time, you know him, you've seen him out there. So we'll have something for him when our next meeting gets here, but I wanted to share that with the selectmen, let you be aware of that. I also made one promotion recently that I think will also help the town. We've just promoted Mike Lestrina to Supervisor of Public Works. And that's something that I think is going to be very helpful, given that we're in transition right now with a Public Works Director. I right now have not found a right candidate for that. We're actively looking. We have this out there, networking. I'm trying to find anyone we can in the area. So if you're out watching right now and you are a Public Works Director and you're looking to change, come to Portland. But we're looking for that. So that should make a difference going forward. So that's one of the changes. Other things, I know we've been following the SPA. I'm going to pass this around. It's just a mock-up of the presentation they did a little more than a year ago. You can pass that around as well. But they are full speed ahead right now. I spoke to them 2 days ago. They are going to be breaking ground on the groundwork by early April. They found a developer, or a builder, I should say, to do that. They're all up on the permits. They're ready to go. They are anticipating that they could be ready to open as early as summer next year, summer of 26. So they want to really get this thing up and running. They had nothing but good things to say about the town, both how we've treated them with Ryan and the administration before. They have made themselves feel welcome here. They are looking forward to doing it. They didn't want me to throw the number out, so I'm not going to, but they anticipate a significant amount of people coming every year to this to their facility. And because of that, they're interested in looking at other lands that we have that they might be able to develop or work with. So the riverfront property is something that they are looking at. And if they can't do it, they know developers that may be able to assist in terms of ideas. So they are very vested in putting roots in Portland and growing with us in the years ahead. So it was nice to hear that. And they're excited about it as much as we are. So so that's going on with that. Brainerd Place, I was just there earlier this evening for an update, a meet and greet. They are filling up building 1 right now. They are, I believe, are at 8 leases, just under 10%. They have 99 at the first building. They have a number of people that are interested. They're showing it every day. They have, I mean, this is not the ideal time. Most people want, they're not going to do it middle of the winter. There's better times to do it, but they've got a lot of strong interest in it. The pricing from the group that went with me today and heard it, thought it was very reasonable. So it's very comparable to what's in the area. So they feel confident that they can get this thing filled by maybe September, October. That's what I suggested. They said it's possible. They would like to do November, December, but we're going to try to push them along. But they are very happy about that. They're pursuing other businesses in the space there for the commercial space. They feel they have a couple folks that are ready to do something that they wouldn't share with who. But that's something they're excited about and positive. I talked to Dan a while and some of the others there. And so that's what's going on. Any questions about Brainerd Place? Okay, good. Airline Trail next. One of the areas we've been stopped with the Airline Trail for the last couple of years is at Butler's, for a number of reasons, not just figuring out a way to get past there. And also funding, and East Hampton has to get their part of it done. That there's 1,000 feet or so of a trail figured out. That looks like it's going to be next spring. So they're about a year away from getting that part of the trail, which gives us a year to try to figure out a way to get maybe to downtown Portland. So I have a meeting this Friday with Dan Lally, the owner of Butler, to talk about what we could do. We haven't met with him for a long time. I think it's been 5-6 years. We had a good conversation on the phone. I will let everyone know. If I could bring someone else with me and someone's interested, let me know. But my purpose of going there is not only to discuss the trail, but more importantly, how has it been with him? I know he purchased another property near Paley Farms that he acquired for more work. But I want to talk about how he enjoys being in town, what expansion plans he has. But this is a big part of it. So that's going to happen. I'm hoping to get that pushed. I know Lou and Riz and the rest of them, they're anxious to get that moving forward. With that, the Central Connecticut Loop, which is a bigger project right now, I think it's 111 miles the way they envision it. This is a part of that loop. So they're trying to get a trail that will connect all the way in one big loop, about 111 miles. So they've put in, I think it's $2 million a mile for the last 13 miles they need to do between Portland and the Meriden line. So they're going to go through Middletown. They've got a beautiful plan. They go through past the high school. But they have the plan out. They think they can make it happen. But we need to get it to over the bridge. So that's what we're going to try to do. So all hands on deck, whatever everyone on this board and those out there can do to assist with that, that would be very helpful. But I think it'd be a great thing for the town. Great thing for the town. And in a couple of ways, once we get the trail and the design where it's going to go, having a spur go to the Route 17 park or down toward the Nordic Spa or other things is something that would be really good. So there's a lot of other possibilities we could do. All right, steep grant. We voted a couple meetings ago to put up $200,000 for a potential project on High Street, continuing that. We won't know until April, but that's all been submitted. I don't know if I told you that last time. It's submitted, it's in. I'm not going to curse it by saying I think we got a good shot, but I'm glad it's in. And it's a continuation of a project we already started, which gives us an advantage. And we have another third part that we can do after that, which gives us an advantage. That's per the folks that I've talked to at DOT. So they're not telling us, but I'm hoping that's a good thing. And if that happens, it'll be a good thing for the town. And we continue the good work we did before. So that's happened. Any questions on that? Excellent. The bar grant. We had 7 companies offer to help do the bar grant that we got for $200,000. It's a Brown area remediation grant for connectivity in our downtown area. Figure out what we can do to connect all the projects that are going on and improve that. So we looked at all those presentations. We narrowed it down to 3. I believe next Tuesday we're meeting with them. They're coming back for a presentation of the final 3, and we should make a decision within a day from there. So we should have that group decided, picked, and selected. And then with the Brownfields committee that we just filled today, they can get to work and start looking at how best to connect all the projects we have going on. For me, getting everything connected properly is, I think, the most important thing, because we have so many things, we got to get it all right. So I'm glad we have this board and others helping us to kind of decide how we're going to move forward and what we're going to do with the input, of course, of our town residents, what they want, what they're feeling, and making sure we work together with all the shareholders. So that's going on with that. The parking lease for the property near the Infinity Center. That one I have sent out a request. We're supposed to be tomorrow. We should get the signature, the things that you had talked about in terms of where they were parking. We've resolved that. It's all going to be in the front. The number of spaces, I'll fill you in on that later as well, the rest of the board as well. But there should be no issues with that. I should have a signed contract by tomorrow or Friday, depending on when we get together. But right now we're planning on getting together tomorrow. So there is another possible lease that's connected with the spa. Before Ryan left, he started discussions with them to lease the top parking lot where they do a lot of parking in the summertime and for the concert series, where across from where they're going to build the spa. I have a copy that I will forward that to you. I got a copy back from our attorney that has just an outline of the lease agreement. Nothing's been solidified. I need to talk to Ryan I need to talk to Ryan before I talk to them in terms of what they discussed. Right now, I don't think they've talked pricing or anything. So that is right now on the horizon. I will talk to you about that in the next couple of days. You'll all get a copy of that. And then at the next meeting, I think it should be something we either talk here or an executive session. So, but we'll talk about that later.
Mike, we also coordinating and talking with our Parks and Rec and our sports leagues, because I know we have.
That needs to be part of the
Yeah,
conversation too.
there's times that gets fairly busy down there.
Yeah, and we need to make sure it's shared. Now, part of the discussion was they talked about paving the rest of it. There's an unpaved section of that. So they would pave at their expense to expand it to allow for multi-use and others to use it. But we also have additional space beyond that. So there's a lot of questions we have to do and usage that they have. And they'll have a number of employees that need parking as well as the day spa guests. So that'll be part of the discussion, but we need to include them all in there. So yes, don't worry. If you're worried about that out there, we're looking at that. We'll examine that. We'll make sure it's the best for the town. But that's a good problem to have, so. All right, next, the River Park Trail behind Tilcon. We did the easement of concert or the easement covenant that they needed to protect the various wildlife there that need to be protected. The state has that, they've accepted that. The only thing we need to get is the parking easement. We're waiting on Jeff Jacobson to provide us an updated map. Once I get that tomorrow, we could send that in, and then we could send that to the state, and then we're ready to take the next step and actually look at what to do with the design and maybe break ground in maybe 4 to 6 months. We have a December 25th deadline to get substantially or all of it done by then. But because it took so long during the pandemic to get things done, the state has said that they're understanding, and as long as we're moving the project forward, which we have, then we shouldn't have a problem with that if we have to extend it. But we have that $300,000 from before. And one of the ones that delayed it the most was the one that approved the last easement. So she's kind of on her side, and she was the one that was pushing back before. So anyway, so that's looking forward. Lou and Riz are both anxious to get that thing going, and Rick as well. They want that going. So that's Bird On. I spoke to them this morning. They have a lot of good things going there as well. They're expanding their. It looks like they may be doing something with the 45-foot boats. So they may need to do some expansion. I have to meet with them on Monday. Again, if anyone wants to join me for that, you're welcome to. I'll let you know what the times are. But that it sounds like they have lots of things going on. It'll be the first time I've talked to them since I've been here. So I want to get an update, but they have a lot of things they want to talk about and expand. They also mentioned that EB has talked to them about doing some sub work, whatever that means. So, so I think nothing but positive for them. So that's good for us. It's good for our tax base, for a number of things. So that was good. Two other things. Spoke with Chris Cody. And the reason I'm bringing it to all of you, maybe to those listening, is he's been fantastic. He's done a number of good things in town, but there's a lot of things he does that no one knows. So one of the things that stood out when I was talking to him was just a side thing he threw at me while we were chatting. But he said, I don't know if you know this, but June 27th to 29th, they're hosting a world drive championship event there. Long drive, where they are doing all around the country, all around the world. It's a world-class event. It'll be televised. It'll be 3 days. It'll be at his golf course there. And with that, he's like, I'd love to see the town, get everything together. I want to see the town looking as good as possible. But he was excited about that, but he threw that as just in the conversation, didn't make a big deal about it. So I want to do that. So he does great things down there. That event should be on TV. It's a big deal. It puts Portland on the map, and it segues me to another thing that I probably shouldn't say, but I'm going to. Chris had a suggestion. He's been working since the last 8 or 9 years. He feels that Portland, with the golf courses we have and with the quality of our high school team that's won the state championship a number of times, with the interest, he feels like New Haven is the pizza capital of Connecticut. Portland has to be the golf capital of Connecticut. So I think that makes a lot of sense to me. I don't know when that will come up again or when we'll discuss that, but I'd like everyone to think about that. It certainly is the unofficial golf capital of Connecticut to me, as I'm sure it might be for all of you as well. But anyways, I want to discuss that some other time. But I just want to put a shout out to him and what he's done. But those kinds of things, I think a lot of businesses are doing. They're doing good things in town. We don't know about it. So I think our board, myself, the rest, we need to shout this out because we have a lot of good things happening in Portland. So it's exciting for me.
What's the date for the long drive?
It's June 27th through 29th. It's a Friday through Sunday. I don't know if walk-ins are allowed, Tim. So, I'm not sure.
No fear there.
No fear there. So.
I had my niece's boyfriend did that a couple of years ago. They hosted it there. And I was surprised at how big a deal it is.
Yeah, no, it's a
really
huge
is.
deal. It's a huge, and these guys bang it. I think
Oh,
Chris
they
was
crush
saying
it there.
they crushed it to where the fair was, which I think
Yeah.
was close to almost 400 yards.
Yeah, no, they're like
Which is-
400.
Which is kind of crazy. And I think that's all I have for updates.
Quick question.
Sorry for the long one.
I thought of it when you were talking about the kayak launch on the riverfront and deep. I saw in your update to us yesterday about the solar
Yes,
that were kind of getting stalled by deep.
yes.
There any other avenues we can get to try to get that moving?
So I've reached out to Deep and I've reached out more going to Jacobson because I want to understand exactly what the holdup is. Like, where is it? I don't know who yet, and where in the cog it is. So I'm working on that as well. If anyone wants to jump in and help out on that, we've got connections at the state. I'll tell you what I know. If you can help me out, that'd be great. And maybe it's just one phone call, but we need to move that forward. So.
Well, I mean, that's, when we get those panels in, that's revenue for us.
Absolutely.
We gotta get it done.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we had to sign something that we had to delay the contract because we couldn't control what the state did. So. Any other discussion?
Not status, no, not status. I'll wait until, the general informal.
Public comments. Anyone want to say something now? Anyone online?
From the Committee on Solidarity. And so we were part of the discussion about.
Oh, do you mind going up there just so people can hear you? I know, you knew we were gonna ask.
You did
I'm sorry. Only because the people at home are watching, that's why.
So I'm Nancy Goodwin and I'm here with Cindy Tyler. We're from the Committee on Solidarity. And so we're very happy that you are agreeing with us that it would be a really good thing to have 2 high school students who attend our meetings. Thank you.
Do you mind if I ask you a question? So I like the idea. I think it's a great idea. Have you guys talked about how they would do that or what they would do to?
Well, one of the things that Liz Hibino has done is to connect with the principals at all the schools. And what we're trying, we have other events as well that, like, for example, Juneteenth, where we would like to get the students more involved. And so that's how this is coming about, is that she has met with them. And it's a really interesting, good idea to have the younger people get involved in town committees and events. And yeah, it's all good.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Sorry we made you talk up there.
It'll be easier next time.
I promise. You did great. Did great. Right. So no public comment. All right. General discussion, informal discussion.
Yeah, just I had a few things for general. One, I also wanted to congratulate, Michael Screener. It's very well earned. He's supervisor of the Public Works Relations, over 40 years. And anybody who knows Mike, they know 2 things, right? He loves Portland and will work his backside off to make Portland better. And he's always got a smile on his face while he's doing it. So I was happy to see that. I also wanted to extend that thank you, getting where we are now for the well to Public Works. In general, the conditions, let's just say the conditions when they were on site were not ideal. Between the mud, we got the deep freeze, the mud, and there were several times where they needed some assistance. And our Public Works were able to jump in. And I can tell you, talking with the folks who were drilling the well, that one, they very much appreciated how much the town was willing to assist and to make sure they didn't have any hiccups. If they needed to get the pit where they were drilling and where some of the water and the tailings and all that had to go into, they didn't have to try to bring another piece of equipment on site and delay a day. The town was able to help. That really helped through the process. And even right down to the first day when they went up there and because of the rain and everything else, the trucks just started sinking in the mud. I mean, it's just along the way, at several points along the way, they really helped. So thanks to Public Works for that. And then flipping over to water, our current operations, real quick, one of the things, and I know we've spoken about it, but we authorized as a board in this year's budget, a half an FTE to look at January to try to provide some relief to our current folks in the water department. I don't know if a lot of folks know, but right now with the 2 people that are there, they're currently on every other weekend. Because we have to have the weekend coverage. We have to have it, both from, any call outs or things like that, but also to take readings and do all the things that we need to do. I'm hoping that that's something that we can be moving forward on, because I believe this budget, we're looking to fund, the other half of that FTE, right? So it becomes a full-time position. That's why we waited till January. But that's all I got.
I just have one thing. Do we know the status of the repairs on the pavilion at the Riverfront Park?
I do. So they're gonna have the material, I believe by April 21st is the date when that's gonna be done and received, and then they can install after that. So it'll be I think the first event down there is like the middle of May, I believe.
Somewhere on there, right?
Yeah, so but they're looking at that, and I asked them if they can do it quicker. They said it was partially weather dependent, but by the 21st of April, it should be there. I'll reach out to them again to confirm. Last time I talked to them was like a week and a half ago.
Mike, that photo that I gave, I
Yes.
texted you, did you get that to Rhino Helping?
I did, yes.
I don't know who was at the meeting that night, but, when my wife and I went to, El Bean up in South Windsor, they have a front porch with large wooden beams that are sitting down on a
Like a
steel bracket that sits about 6 inches off the ground. And I said, that would make perfect sense. So Ryan said to get the photo to him, and he was gonna check with them to see if they have access to such a thing. It would make sense that as they do these, they can get them up off the ground, so.
I don't know what he ended up doing. I'll double check that.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, so I'll keep you posted once I know we also have to put the welcome to Portland sign up. We're waiting for the weather to get better before they put it over there. So that's probably gonna be about the same time,
Right.
middle to the end of April. So someone asked me about that yesterday, so. All right, anything else? Michael? You all set?
Got nothing.
Okay, good. Tim?
No, I'll say.
All right. Guess what? It's time to adjourn the meeting. Oh, any, anyone want to adjourn the meeting?
I'll make a motion, we adjourn with the understanding that this is the nice one because next couple weeks is gonna be busy.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll
Hallelujah.
second that.
Second that. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Right, passes.
Aye.